Bodhidharma, a monk from southern India, made an epic journey across treacherous seas and mountains to bring his unique brand of Buddhism to China. This mysterious prince-turned-monk would have a profound impact, shaping the development of Zen Buddhism and laying the foundations of the legendary Shaolin martial arts. But who exactly was this enigmatic figure, and why did his influence spread so far? Keep watching to find out. Bodhidharma was born around 440 CE as the third son of King Suganda of the Pallava Empire, located in modern-day Tamil Nadu, a state of India. The Pallava dynasty was a regional power dominating trade routes stretching from Southeast Asia to the Roman Empire. As a prince, Bodhidharma would have received training in languages, religion, medicine, combat, and more, but experiencing the petty machinations of court politics up close led Bodhidharma to renounce ties to the throne as a young man. Instead, Bodhidharma dedicated himself to the Buddhist faith that was beginning to thrive in the cultural melting pot of peninsular India. For centuries, the bustling Pallava ports connecting Pacific and Indian Ocean trade networks attracted monks and merchants alike from across Asia. In this cosmopolitan milieu, Bodhidharma trained under the female monk, Patrika, in a distinct school of Buddhism, emphasizing personal meditation. As death approached, Patrika ordered Bodhidharma to transmit their unique strain of philosophy and meditation to China. Whether by fate or fortune, Bodhidharma was soon drawn east by karma into the next phase of his spiritual journey. Sometime around 470 CE, Bodhidharma boarded a merchant ship in the Tamil region, destined for Southeast Asia on the first leg of his passage towards China. Braving fierce storms and pirate raids, after nearly 18 months at sea, Bodhidharma is believed to have arrived around 475 CE at what is today Guangzhou along the Pearl River in southern China. Local merchant accounts document an Indian Buddhist monk, Daruma, or Damo in Chinese, disembarking from a ship. By the 5th century CE, trade catalyzed Buddhism's march across continents, following merchant caravans along the famous Silk Road between India and China. Northern Chinese dynasties such as the Wei and Jin sponsored the spread of the faith across the Yellow River Basin down towards the Yangtze Valley. But the region from Nanjing to Guangdong remained largely unexposed to the Buddhist traditions trickling into China. Sensing opportunity in fertile spiritual soil yet to be tilled, Bodhidharma headed inland from busy Guangzhou ports towards regions south of the Yangtze, hungry for new ideas. Of course, the first person eagerly awaiting any wandering Buddhist master was Emperor Wu of Liang, whose capital lay along the Yangtze River near modern-day Nanjing. Emperor Wu had enthusiastically supported the spread of Buddhism, spending vast sums on monasteries to house sutra copyists. But upon meeting Bodhidharma around 479 CE, philosophical tensions with the visiting Indian monk immediately arose. The blue-blooded emperor demanded recognition for his lavish public Buddhist displays and temples dotting the countryside. But the wild-eyed Bodhidharma stubbornly emphasized ending personal suffering through disciplined, private meditation instead. An indignant emperor commanded Bodhidharma to leave his kingdom at once, wary of strange new philosophies sowing discord in his realm. And so Bodhidharma retreated north across the mighty Yangtze River around 485 CE towards regions still in political turmoil, after the fall of the Han dynasty, nearly 3 centuries prior. Through experience in the Pallava court, Bodhidharma wisely recognized the real risk meddlesome emperors posed to independent philosopher monks. And so, Bodhidharma ventured into the chaotic territories stretching north towards the old imperial capital at Luoyang and the Northern Wei rulers sympathetic to the spread of Buddhism. For nearly 15 years, Bodhidharma wandered the northern provinces teaching his philosophy of wall-gazing meditation to all who would listen. As Buddhism spread through China since Han times, dozens of competing schools proliferated, divided on philosophical issues like the role of rituals or studying ancient versus contemporary texts. Bodhidharma refused to strictly classify his rural meditation communities into any specific school. But his students' later treatises codified his teachings on sitting meditation as the Chun school, known in Japanese as Zen, distinguishing it from more scholarly or devotional styles of Chinese Buddhism. While welcome at first among Northern Wei elites, political winds soon shifted against foreign philosophy or religions. Around 500 CE, the Northern Wei dynasty collapsed into warring clans, plunging northern China into chaos for decades, likely seeking refuge from conflict. Around this time, Bodhidharma retreated to Shaolin Monastery, nestled high in remote Songshan Mountains, far from turmoil in the plains below. Founded in 495 CE by Emperor Shaolin, the Shaolin Temple housed monks, hand-copying Buddhist scriptures sent by the Indian sage Batuo. The laborious transcription work left the Shaolin monks stooped and pale, struggling to plant crops while practicing ritual ceremonies. And so when Bodhidharma arrived, he immediately noticed the poor health of monks at the secluded mountain cloister. Bodhidharma prescribed stretching, breathing techniques and yoga postures to circulate blood needed for enduring meditation. Drawing on staff, weapons, and empty-hand fighting traditions maintained by South Indian kings and warriors, Bodhidharma also offered to share this knowledge with the ailing monks. Before long, the monks enthusiastically blended techniques modeled on animal movements, Kalaripayattu pressure points, and yogic postures into the rigorous martial art we now recognize as Shaolin Kung Fu. By tempering muscular strength with mental discipline, Bodhidharma's teaching amalgamated spiritual meditation with martial arts, still pulsing in the Song Mountains 1,500 years later. Through the long lens of history, traces of Bodhidharma and his philosophy appear everywhere by 525 CE. Local Chinese epic tales describe Bodhidharma's martial skills using media like shadow puppet theaters, spreading his name through folk stories in temple fairs and rural towns. Elsewhere, monasteries from Guangdong to the old Northern Wei capital Luoyang record stones and steles, marking the presence of a mysterious master named Bodhidharma. And at remote, high-altitude Shaolin Temple, monks blend Taoist breathing, yoga, and Indian Kalaripayattu into the vigorous martial arts tradition that continues today. Soon, the combustible mix of localized legends and global inspiration, Bodhidharma, brought to Chinese soil in the 5th century, would ignite both the Chan school of spiritual philosophy and Shaolin fighting traditions, whose sparks still fly far and wide. Few sites in East Asia brim with as much history and legend as China's Shaolin Temple. Hidden high in the misty Songshan Mountains, monks still revere Bodhidharma as the first patriarch of their martial arts nourished on these slopes 1,500 years ago. According to later folk stories, around 500 CE Bodhidharma introduced yogic stretches and Indian fighting disciplines to help monks withstand grueling hours sitting in meditation. However, strong evidence suggests local martial arts and Taoist healing practices predated Bodhidharma's arrival. However, the synthesis this Indian monk inspired allowed Shaolin Temple to become the epicenter from which Chinese Kung Fu proliferated over centuries. Arriving around 500 CE, Bodhidharma immediately prescribed yoga exercises and Ayurvedic treatments to promote the health of monks at Shaolin. Accustomed to ritual duties, the monks now spent long sedentary hours hand-copying scriptures hurting circulation and joints, according to Indian medicine. Bodhidharma lectured on using posture, breath, and diet to harmonize mind, body, and spirit for enduring meditation. Influenced by Patanjali's yoga, likely arriving via Indian merchants, Bodhidharma tailored poses for stretching limbs and targeting energy channels, without prior conditioning for sitting stillness. Adding Taoist breathing focused on visualizing and circulating ki energy throughout the body. Bodhidharma synthesized exercise sets, allowing monks to fuse martial power with mental discipline. Drawing on his own princely martial training, Bodhidharma also offered to share fighting techniques to help guard against roving mountain brigands. By tweaking techniques designed to maim into a spiritual discipline promoting health and self-defense, Bodhidharma planted seeds allowing Shaolin Kung Fu to blossom. Before long, the monks blended more concepts from traveling Persian and Central Asian martial artists, who also influenced regional armed styles. Over generations, the monks refined these foreign fighting methods, codifying weapons like swords, spears, and staffs into 5 animal styles and legendary techniques like Mantis Fist and the 18 Lohan hands. By integrating armed and unarmed methods promoting both self-defense and inner balance, Shaolin Temple nurtured a systematic martial art form, melding dynamic power with Buddhist mindfulness still pulsing within its aging halls today. The exact circumstances around Bodhidharma's death remain shrouded in mystery. Tensions with rival Buddhist schools likely turned fatal sometime around 528 CE. But later, myths helped cement his legacy. One story describes him paralyzed, staring at a wall for 9 years, then walking to the low river, where he crossed over calmly, leaving but one sandal behind imagery, now synonymous with Bodhidharma Zen paintings. Other oral traditions claim Bodhidharma's fighting system spread throughout China and beyond. For example, the monk Tanlin fled overseas to Hawaii with techniques learned from the master. Elsewhere, the monk Chi Song refined Bodhidharma's inner energy teachings at Mount Emei, inspiring later soft styles like Wing Chun Kung Fu. Meanwhile, records confirm Bodhidharma's South Indian Pallava clan maintained strong ties with Tang China, introducing new fighting styles and weapons. Before long, from bustling marine hubs to remote mountain garrisons, Bodhidharma's name increasingly appeared connected to evolved martial arts traced to Shaolin. By the 8th century CE, the warrior monk Shen Guang presented extensive Shaolin martial arts manuals to the emperor, featuring many techniques introduced by Bodhidharma 3 centuries prior. Soon, imperial decrees ordered Shaolin methods spread nationwide to soldiers. As awe of Shaolin fighting skills grew legendary, Bodhidharma became firmly lodged in written and oral histories as its founding patriarch. Back in India, a few schools still maintain contact with Shaolin via traditional arts like Kalaripayattu, linked to Bodhidharma's legacy. Beyond martial skills, oral tales regarding Bodhidharma's meditation techniques transformed into lineages of spiritual wisdom over centuries. His student Huatka codified wall-gazing, seated meditation and paradoxical dialogues meant to jolt minds into enlightened awareness. This slowly evolved into Chan Buddhism, later known as Zen in Japan, China's first major indigenous Buddhist school synthesizing philosophical strains imported from abroad. By unifying Buddha's wisdom with Lao Tzu's spontaneous awareness, Bodhidharma offered the secret transmission outside scriptures, mind-to-mind wisdom spreading through eccentric masters beyond reliance on sacred texts. Now, 1,500 years later, the unlikely fusion of meditation and martial arts attributed to this enigmatic Indian monk continues inspiring millions worldwide. No longer isolated, high and misty mountains, over 300 Shaolin schools operate globally from Japan to Brazil, in training halls everywhere teaching Shotokan, Taekwondo, or Arnis stick fighting. Instructors bow before an image of this wild-eyed monk, known as Bodhidharma, the unlikely Indian prince who sparked a centuries-old martial tradition that continues to ignite hearts and minds around the world today. And so we reach the end of this video tracing the epic life and legend of Bodhidharma, the Indian monk who sparked twin disciplines still thriving today. His mingling of philosophies shaped spiritual paths from Shaolin temples to Zen meditation halls across the globe. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more interesting content.